Hey everyone, it's Kim from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and I am bringing you a new review today. Today's review is of the game Sherlock 13, which was published by Arcane Wonders. 2 to 4 player game. The recommended age level is 10 and up, and about 15 minutes worth of gameplay. So let me go ahead and take you down to the tabletop, and I'll walk you through it. Alrighty everybody, let's go ahead and see how this game works. So the first thing that everyone is going to need is a character sheet. So you'll peel off one for each person, and the idea is you put your name first and then everybody else who is playing. Now in a 4-person game or in a 3-person game, the rules are relatively similar. There are special rules for a 2-person game that you can take a look at. But essentially, whoever is designated as the first player, which is just a random, is going to set one card in the middle, and that's going to be the criminal. The rest of them will be dealt out face down, but I'm going to go ahead and deal them face up so you can see how the game would work. So everyone in a 4-person game is going to end up with 3 characters. And from what it seems like, it doesn't really matter which characters you get because the characters themselves aren't nearly as important as these little symbols on each card. So on your own sheet, next to your name, you're going to tally up the number of each of the symbols and record them here. Essentially, once you do that, you really don't need to look at your cards much more. So once you have all of those recorded, then play continues to the left of the dealer. And on your turn, you have 2 choices. Your first choice is to investigate, which means you choose one of these icons. And you basically just say, who has a pipe? And any of the other players who have a pipe have to raise their hand. And then you, on your own little sheet, will record little bits of information. So let's say you're playing, and player number 2 has a pipe, player number 3 has no pipes, and player number 4 has 2 pipes, or whatever it may be. Then you record that information. Your second option is to interrogate. That means you choose a specific player and you say to them how many of each element do you have. So for example, I could interrogate this player here and say, how many pipes do you have? And they would have to answer me with the number 1. The idea then is, if we look back at the player card, each of the characters have a very specific combination of symbols. So let's say, for example, that when you tally up all of the pipes are accounted for. What you can then do with the characters is go down through and you can eliminate anybody with a pipe. Because if all of the pipes are accounted for, then our mysterious person is not going to have a pipe insignia on their character card. The third option for you is to accuse, in which case you declare out loud who you think the criminal is, and then you check this privately. If you are correct, you win. Yay! If you are incorrect, you lose. Boo. And from here on out, you no longer get to interrogate or investigate. However, you do still answer any of the other players' questions so they can continue to deduce who they think the criminal is. If everybody, except for you, has accused somebody and they've been incorrect, then by default, you win. So let's go ahead and come back up from the tabletop and I'll give you my final thoughts. So, final thoughts on Sherlock 13. This is a good deduction game to kind of transition you from something like Clue into perhaps a little bit more difficult field of deduction. The game itself isn't necessarily hard, but it is also probably not going to be super entertaining for people who consistently play more in-depth deduction games. So this is a good way for you to kind of transition into those. It is themed with Sherlock Holmes, but other than the characters being the same, there really isn't a lot of like of the Sherlock lore. And if that's something that you're looking for, you're not going to quite get it with this one. But it is a super easy game to learn. A great game if you only have a few minutes to play with other people. And you know, I love small games and small rule books. So if those sound appealing to you, you're going to want to check this out. As always, please hit that like button, subscribe if you'd like more of our content, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.